next stanza tells us of the third man. 6 people, 1 a woman, 5 of them are men. The third is a poor man. The third one sat in tattered clothes. He gave his coat a hitch. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? The third man was a poor man. How do we know he's poor? Because he's wearing tattered clothes. See this word, Tattered, means torn. In Hindi we say phata hua kapra. In Bengali we say chhera. He's wearing tattered clothes. Remember, bleak and bitter. These are the 2 key words of the first stanza. It is an extremely cold weather. So he is wearing torn clothes. So he has to give his coat a hitch. He has to give his coat a hitch. Meaning, he has to pull his coat because he's feeling cold. He has to gather his coat around him. He has to pull his coat around him. So he pulls his coat. When we feel very cold, we do this. So he pulls his coat. He gives his coat a hitch. He gathers his coat. He pulls his coat. And he has a thought in his mind. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? He considers the rich to be of no use, idle, good for nothing. Now the poor man is considering the rich man. When he sees amongst the faces, he sees one is a rich man. And we know everywhere in the world there's always a difference between the rich and the poor. This person particularly is thinking that I do the hard work and who gets the benefit? The rich man. That is the reason he calls the rich man idle. Koi kaam dham karta nahi. He does the work, but he makes the poor man do the work and reap the benefit and get the benefit from the poor man. That is the reason the poor man is calling the rich idle. He is not doing the work. I am putting my labor and he is only getting the benefit of my labor. So when you're asked why is the rich referred to, we will be doing question answers also. So in there you will know how to use the key words, how to use the words of the text, or even in your own words. But what happens when we use our own words? We tend to make more mistakes. And if you can just use this word idle, what is the rich referred to? The rich is referred to idle. Instead of saying good for nothing, use as little words as possible because you will get marks. When we finish the entire poem, we will be doing something called figures of speech. Now let me tell you one thing. Figures of speech in ICSE, it does not come. But in school examinations, they will give it to you. So I will be preparing you both for your ICSE as well as for your school examinations. School examinations or ICSE, both are equally important. ICSE is more important, definitely. So there we will be doing some very easy figures of speech. So now I will not clutter your head in figures of speech, that we will do it separately. But there is a question mark here. Why will he? Why should I do it? If I say, why should I do it? It seems that the answer is in this question itself. I'm not going to do it. Do this, why should I? When you say, why should I? The question itself is giving you the answer. I am not going to do it. This man is doing the same thing. Why should his log of wood be put to use to warm the idle rich? Why should I put my log of wood into the fire? To give him warmth? He's an idle man. So the answer is, I'm not going to do it. And he doesn't do it. Now what is this prejudice? It is status, economic status. They belong to different, right? It's an economic status. I belong to the poor category and he belongs to the rich. Economically, class, yes, you could say class also. The rich class and the poor class. Because these questions are asked, what prejudice is he depicting here? So it is class difference, economic status. I am not going to give it to the rich. I will not let the rich benefit. So see, he also does not realize that if the rich benefits, I am going to benefit also. But we are so clouded, covered by this hatred for one another that we refuse to see our own benefit also. The next answer. After the poor will come the rich. So the rich man. So as I'm reading, I will also be highlighting. Okay? The rich man. Why am I highlighting, girls and boys? I'm only highlighting in order for you to identify the keywords. Again and again I repeat the same thing. Literature is keywords. Answering literature questions is identifying the keywords and writing those keywords to make you get full marks. Full marks, remember, not marks, full marks. So as I'm reading, I am also highlighting those keywords of that particular stanza. So the rich man sat back. He also refused and thought of the wealth he had in store. He has two thoughts in his mind. The first is of the wealth he has in store. That is the first. And the second is how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. How to keep this wealth with him and not give it to anyone. Particularly, he's using these two adjectives, lazy and shiftless, for the poor man. He's using these two adjectives. What is an adjective? An adjective is a describing word. It describes a noun. Poor is a noun. Common noun. We have common noun, we have proper noun. We don't know the name of this poor man. He's just a poor man. So poor is a noun. And whenever a word describes the noun, it is known as an adjective. So these are the two adjectives here. One is lazy and one is shiftless. In schools, we have a little difficult. The questionnaire, the question pattern is a little difficult because the schools will make you practice for your forthcoming examination, that is your ICSE. So in school, the question paper wording will be, what are the two adjectives used for the poor? So you will say lazy and shiftless. In ICSE, it will be made a little easier and you will be asked, how is the poor described? Adjective, description. How is the poor described? He is described as the lazy and shiftless. Now let us go back to this stanza, the first line. The rich man. I told you, I've highlighted the rich man. The next is rich man. Economic class difference. First comes the poor, now the rich man. He sat back. He also refused to sit back. I will not do it. And he has two thoughts running in his mind. These two thoughts are, as I said, how to keep what wealth he has in store, one, and the second is how to keep this wealth. Two thoughts he has in his mind. How to keep this wealth with him and how to keep this wealth from the lazy, shiftless. One word is lazy. The rich man is referred to as idle. The poor man is referred to as lazy. The rich will always say the poor do not do any work at all, so they are lazy. And what does the word shiftless mean? Shiftless means the poor have no ambition. They do not have any ambition at all. The poor they do not have any ambition, without ambition, or as we say, no ambition. They do not have any ambition. The rich will always say. The rich will say, that is why we are ambitious, that is why we are earning more and more money. The poor people, they do not want to do any work, they are lazy, and they are without ambition, shiftless. They don't know how to shift themselves. They are too lazy, just sitting in one place. They will not move here, they will not move there. Shiftless, no ambition. So this man is lazy, this man is without ambition. I am not going to help this man. So this is also class difference. This is also economic status. This is also prejudice based on class difference. So now if we do a little bit of revision till here, first stanza is telling us how many people. And I told you right at the beginning that I'll tell you why exactly the word humans is used. Very, very few workbooks will tell you why humans. I don't think so any workbook will tell you. I thought to myself, why? I'm asked by my students also. Ma'am, why is it not persons? Why is it humans? What does a human being have? He has some kind of humanity with him. What does humanity mean? Humanity means feeling of kindness, feeling of, feel nice about someone, helpfulness. You're kind to the other. God made us humans. We made ourselves persons. He's a different person, he's the same person. We made ourselves persons, different or same. But God made us humans. So that is why it's 6 humans. See, the poet doesn't say 6 persons trapped by happenstance. He says 6 humans. And this word, you will understand the meaning of the word completely when you come right at the end of the poem. We are human beings. We have to be human. And how? By helping one another, by being kind towards one another, by being good towards one another. They are 6 humans, but do they have any humanity? No. Why? Because they are clouded. So now 6 humans trapped, caught, we've learned it, happenstance, bleak and bitter, possessed, stick of wood. So in this stanza, what do you have to remember? The number of people who were there, 6. They came by chance, happenstance. They were caught, trapped. The weather was bleak, the weather was bitter. And each one possessed a stick of wood. The first stanza just gives us the setting. This is called the setting of the poem. The poem is set on a bleak, bitter, cold winter night. We know it is night because the fire is burning. First stanza is the setting. Second stanza starts their dislike and their hatred for one another. There are 6 human beings. The first is a woman. It says here, she is a woman, hers. She held her log of wood. The fire was dying. So the fire needed logs. But the first one held hers back. She kept it back. Why? When she looked around all the faces around the fire, she noticed that one of them was black. So she said no to herself, and she did not give her log of wood into the fire. The next man, he looks across the way. He looks across the way from one side to another side. And he saw that one was not of his church. Now, not of his church doesn't mean that he was a Hindu or he was a Muslim. No. He did not have the same religious views as this man who was sitting. So he could not give his log of wood, his stick of wood, into what? Into the fire. The third man, if we go, is the man who is a poor man. He is poor and he will not give his log of wood into the fire. He has a lot of hatred against the rich man. The rich man, he calls the rich man idle. Now the poor man, we know he is poor because he is torn, phata hua kapra, tattered clothes. He gave his clothes a hitch. He pulled his coat to himself more. Why should his log of wood be put to use to warm the idle rich? He calls the rich as idle. The next man is the rich man. The rich man, he has the same feeling for the poor as the poor had for the rich. He also dislikes the poor. He is poor. He is lazy. He has no ambition, shiftless. So he sat back. Who is he? Rich man. He sat back and he thinks. What? The first is the amount of wealth that he has with him. That is one. And the second is how to keep this wealth that he has. That is the second thought. From whom? From this lazy, shiftless poor.
इतने कॉल्स, इतने सारे कॉन्ग्रेचुलेटिंग मैसेजेस जो आए हैं, सो ऑब्वियसली ओवरवेलमिंग है। मैं तो बस अपना पढ़ते गया एंड एग्जाम दे दिया तो आ गया। एग्जाम ड्राइंग का सपना मैंने ऐसे नहीं देखा था, पर हाँ ये जरूर था जो भी दे रहा है अपना बेस्ट दे रहा है। मैं कभी सोच के नहीं रखा था कि रैंक 2 आएगा मेरा। मेरा मानना ये है कि सबसे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि आप अपना बेस्ट वर्जन बनाओ। एक प्रॉपर बैलेंस और एक प्रॉपर शेड्यूल, दैट इज द मोटो।
The fifth human is a black. The black man's face bespoke revenge. As the fire passed from his sight, for all he saw in his stick of wood a chance to spite the white. The fifth man is a black man. This is the chance for the black man to take his revenge. For the black man to take his revenge. Revenge against the white woman, the first human. She refused to give her stick of wood, her log of wood into the fire. He saw in his log of wood a chance to take revenge. Here, spite, here the word spite means to take revenge, or you can use the word harm. To spite the white. So he did not see the fire. He just saw a chance to spite the white. And this revenge was written on his face. The black man's face bespoke, showed revenge, bespoke of revenge. It showed revenge, to show. And so he refused to give his log of wood into the fire. Why? I am going to take revenge. This is also racial discrimination. But it's a prejudice of hatred. I hate the white. She did not give her log of wood. Why should I? And he also did the same as the other people had done. Now, the sixth person. The last man of this forlorn group did not accept for gain. Giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. The last man of this forlorn group, the meaning of the word forlorn is lonely. Why is this group referred to as lonely? Because each person is only thinking about himself, or that one woman herself. There are many people. There are 6 people in this group. But they will not act as 6 people together. They will act as one people at a time. And now the 6th man, the last man, he did not do anything. Not, meaning of the word, not is nothing. He did nothing. Except for gain. If he did anything, it was only for his gain. What does the word gain mean? Gain means profit. If he did anything, it was only for his profit. If anyone gave him profit, he gave that person profit too. He says here, giving only to those who gave. He only gave those people who gave him. Here he will not do anything because he did not profit for many of them. None of them gave their log of wood into the fire. So this last man, the 6th man, did not get any profit from anyone. So why should he give his log of wood into the fire? Was how he played the game. How did he play the game? He played the game on the basis of giving. Profit, I get, I give it to you. No profit, I will not give you anything. So he gave only to those who gave him profit. None of the 5 people gave him any kind of profit. So here, what kind of a person he is? He is a selfish man. He only sees to the profit that he is getting. So the 6 of them, all of them refused to give their log of wood into the fire. They do not know that they will be caught in their own trap. If I dig a pit, I am bound to fall into that pit. And now the last answer. Their logs held tight in death-still hands was proof of human sin. They did not die from the cold without. They died from the cold within. Their logs, the 6 people, their logs were held tight in death's still hands. That was proof of the sin that they have committed. The 6 of them were all dead, but they did not die from the outside cold. They died because of the cold that they had in their hearts. Their log held tight. The next morning, all the 6 of them were found dead. But each of them had the log of wood in their hand. In death's still hand. Why is still here? Still means they're all cold and dead. They're cold and dead. So still, the hands are not moving. Still hands. And that they had the logs of wood in their hands. Proof of human sin. The human sin was the sin of discrimination. What is the sin that they committed? The sin of discrimination. Different kinds of discrimination. Religious, racial, economic, selfishness. They had so much of discrimination and difference amongst themselves. So the poet here says they did not die from the external cold, cold without. That is the external cold. External cold meaning the bleak and bitter cold. No, they did not die because of that. They died because of extreme hatred that they had here, the cold within. They had so much of hatred for one another. They were selfish. They had no warmth, no feeling for one another. And then, of course, so many kind of discrimination. The discrimination of race, the discrimination of religion, economic discrimination, and of course, hatred, selfishness. Two people had racial discrimination. One has religion, 3. One has economic, 4. Both of them, the rich and the poor. And the last one is simple selfish. He's selfish, not only selfish, but he's also greedy. He will only do profit if someone else does profit for him. Greedy. So they died from cold within. How did they die? Not from external cold. The bleak and bitter climate did not make them die. Their hatred for one another, their selfishness for one another, their lack of warmth for one another, their feelings, their hard-heartedness for one another, all this resulted in their death. Discrimination of race, religion, economic status or class difference, their selfishness and their greediness. They were greedy. All this results in their death. With this, we end the poem, The Cold Within. But then we have to do the question answers. There are so many things, particularly, as I said, figures of speech. Perhaps you will find it difficult, but I will make it as easy and as clear as possible. For today, I take your leave. Thank you.
Well, dear students, अगर आपको हमारा पढ़ाने का तरीका अच्छा लग रहा है, तो ये फ्री डेमो कंटेंट हमने YouTube में डाल रखा है आपके लिए, ताकि आप देख सको कि हम कितना डेडिकेशन के साथ वर्ड बाय वर्ड ऑफ द स्टडी मटेरियल को कवर करते हैं. इससे फ़ायदा क्या होता है कि आपको इन डेप्थ एनालिसिस होता है, रटना नहीं पड़ता है. सो दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. हिंदी में हम पढ़ाते हैं सो दैट आराम से नॉलेज उड़ के भागे नहीं, पड़े रहे आपके पास. एंड रिविजन जो है, क्विक रिविजन, वी विल गिव यू नोट्स and we might also give you a revision lecture which would be in English so that the balance is maintained. And we are coming up with new plans, new subscription model हम start कर रहे हैं 1 January 2022 से. और हमें ये realization है कि online classes पर आपका भरोसा थोड़ा सा कम रहता है. So इसीलिए हम first month का subscription एक nominal fee में करेंगे start. हम आपको कुछ welcome gift देंगे so that आपका वो फर्स्ट मंथ का सब्सक्रिप्शन बहुत ही नॉमिनल हो जाए, so that in 1 month's time you can get to know about how good we are. और in case अगर हम अच्छे नहीं हैं, so फर्स्ट मंथ का जो सब्सक्रिप्शन आपने दिया है वो भी within 7 days आप वापस क्लेम कर सकते हो, no questions asked. The whole idea is कि ऑनलाइन क्लासेस पर जो बाकी लोग अगर फ्रॉड कर रहे हैं तो हो सकता है आप घबरा गए हो. ठीक है, कुछ स्टूडेंट्स हमारे गूगल में रिव्यूज़ देखते हैं, तो गूगल में रिव्यूज़ तो डुप्लीकेट रिव्यूज़ भी डलवाया जा सकता है. तो कुछ लोगों को डर लगता है कि इतना अच्छा रिव्यूज़, पक्का ये फ्रॉड होगा. तो देखो, सोचने में कुछ नहीं जाता है. तो इसीलिए हम नहीं चाहते हैं कि किसी और का बैड एक्सपीरियंस के वजह से मेरा और आपका मिलना अधूरा रह जाए. सो दिल खोलकर प्यार से, विश्वास के साथ join BACA classes, download our Bala app, watch our free videos, feel the confidence. Call us at 9830175050 and enjoy. The whole attitude is you should enjoy without any worry. कोई टेंशन वाली बात नहीं है, मैं हूं आपके साथ, हर कदम में मैं आपके साथ हूं। वीडियो लेक्चर से घर पे अपने पेस पे, अपने स्टाइल पे, अपने हिसाब से पढ़िए और ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस यू कैन गेट इन टच विथ मी ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस, एटलीस्ट 5 days a week, सैटरडे संडे छोड़कर मैं आपके साथ हूं। आप हमारे साथ टच में रहिए। ऐसा नहीं कि वीडियो लेक्चर्स भेज दिए और सर गायब हो गए। एवरी डे यू विल बी इन टच विथ मी, एवरी डे। वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस में आप आइए, कोई डाउट हो तो डाउट क्लियर करिए, नहीं हो तो भी बस बताइए कि यस सर थिंग्स आर ओके, बी इन टच विथ मी। उससे आपका मोरल एंड कॉन्फिडेंस हाई रहेगा। सो सोच क्या रहे हो, ज्यादा मत सोचो। सरेंडर टू मी आफ्टर यू हैव डन ऑल योर ड्यू डिलिजेंस। और अगर आपको लगे कि कुछ कमी है तो प्लीज बताइए। अगर आप चाहते हो कि सर ऐसा फीचर और होता तो हमें और फायदा होता, जरूर बताइए। हम तो काम कर रहे हैं आपके लिए। वी वॉन्ट टू बी द बेस्ट, वी एस्पायर टू बी द बेस्ट एंड रिजल्ट्स जो है वो बयान करेगी। रिजल्ट्स हमको और आपको मिलकर लाना है और रिजल्ट्स लाने के लिए मेहनत हमें और आपको मिलकर करना पड़ेगा। सो हमें अगर आप बताते रहो कि सर यहाँ ये कमी रह गई आपकी तरफ से, हमें बड़ी खुशी होगी। हमारे अंदर जो कमी ढूंढ के बताएगा हम उन्हें रिवॉर्ड करेंगे, हम नाराज नहीं होंगे, बल्कि आई प्रॉमिस अगर कुछ एक्सेलेंट आइडिया अगर आप हमें देते हो तो यू विल बी रिवॉर्डेड। सो थैंक यू सो मच, आई लव यू, टाटा, बाय बाय।